essentially the Ghostbusters combining stories from the first movie, the second movie, and the video game. And then, of course, as the story went on, they would, of course, reference things as Dan Schoening and Erik Burnham are both big fans of everything Ghostbusters. So there's a lot of visual cues in there, references to the cartoon, other nerdy intellectual properties and whatnot. And then they started doing crossovers. All right, you crazy kids.
All right.
Let's get into the thick of it. So,
into the thick of it.
So let me start everybody with explaining what this book is, because that's going to be a bit of a deal. So for those who don't know, IDW back, I think in like 2012, got the comic book rights to publish Ghostbusters comics, and they did it with a dream team of Erik Burnham and Dan Schoening. And these were the consistent collaborators for the book from 2012 to, I believe, about 2020, 2021, 2022. So they worked on their story, which was essentially the Ghostbusters combining stories from the first movie, the second movie, and the video game. And then, of course, as the story went on, they would, of course, reference things as Dan Schoening and Erik Burnham are both big fans of everything Ghostbusters. So there's a lot of visual cues in there, references to the cartoon, other nerdy intellectual properties and whatnot. And then they started doing crossovers. And one of their crossovers was with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as the great Justin Cooper would, of course, highlight. And then it went from there, because you started with the Turtles and them meeting through dimensional hijinks, which led to them having a dimensional portal that allowed them to trapeze across the multiverse, which saw them meeting everybody from their animated counterparts in the Real Ghostbusters to the Ghostbusters from the 2016 movie, the all-female cast, and so much more, essentially cultivating in what is called a max event. So this is what we're dealing with now. Crossing Over is an 8-issue max event that is just a dream for any Ghostbusters fan. I mean, this is just heaven. So essentially, when two Ghostbusters decide that they don't want to, they feel the original Ghostbusters are kind of hoarding these dimensional secrets, they decide to build their own portal. And in doing so, they mess up with stuff in the containment unit, which causes a number of ghosts to escape. So to prevent the containment unit from going on full meltdown, which, as we've seen in the first movie, it will be bad, they enlist the help from everybody. And when I mean everybody, these guys go to recruit Ghostbusters from every conceivable universe you can think of. How do I know? Because in the first issue, the last panel is every fanboy's dream. So they slap together these teams. They chase down these various ghosts. Some are recognizable, some are not. It's a huge story combining years of stories into one cohesive storyline, and it is just awesome. So that's my synopsis for it. Crossing Over is a fan dream, and I like to think even if you don't read the comics, you could follow it pretty well. But more from our sponsors.
No, definitely. I didn't read. We've only read that other. You had recommended some other one before that we read, and beyond that, I haven't read much for Ghostbusters. This was totally like the beginning part of each book had like a rundown of everything, so it was perfect for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, like,
and here's
even not being good with like names and forgetting stuff like that all the time, it was just made it so easy.
There you go.
Yeah, here's that shot that you were talking about where they bring everybody together.
Yep.
Come together.
Yes. That's one of them.
I think
Okay. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
I
get
was
there.
talking about. Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. The one at the end of, I believe it's this book. So
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, because this is where they catch the goat. I did. That was nice of them to have intermediate like ghost busting going on while they're also trying to figure out their whole like uh, shitstorm of what's going down. It didn't just get stuck in where they're sitting there going, well, we've got to do this and come together with this and that and that.
Mhm.
They had to go after the George Washington Bridge ghost and the ghost from the restaurant there.
Mhm.
Dana
I mean,
taking on the John Belushi role, though, this cracked me up.
you have to understand also is that this book, just again, like I said, it was just, there's so many moving parts. Like
There it
right
is.
there, look. I'm actually zooming in on it because I just got to look at it again. I was like, how beautiful is that? I mean, God, there's just so many. Like literally, I can name pretty much most of these right now. So you've got in the front, you have the mainstream Ghostbusters. Um, right, and then right there,
I'm gonna
yeah. So
stop.
Carrie, yeah, that's the mainstream. So moving up via the right, you have the 2016 Ghostbusters, aka referenced as the Answer the Call. To their left, you have the Extreme Ghostbusters, which were mentored by a version of the, essentially kind of like the sequel to the people on their left, which are the Real Ghostbusters. Their left, Gary.
That is their left. Oh,
Thank you. So no, their left, not the formal, not the Chicago group. I was talking about the Real Ghostbusters. So you have that.
It's our left.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there they
So
are.
you have the Real Ghostbusters. And funny enough, you have kind of like a goofy, sort of cartoony version there. And then the ones that Carrie just had on the far right, Carrie, down.
See, I didn't even know there was a Chicago team.
So you have those. So you have Ron Alexander is right there. He used to be a former competitor of the Ghostbusters, formed a group called the Ghost Smashers. The two women there were members of his team that became recruited by the Ghostbusters. And the guy with the goggles on, that is that's supposed to be the rookie character that you play in the Ghostbusters video game.
Hmm.
Yeah. So then I believe going up, yeah, you have yet again another version of the Ghostbusters from some distinct comic book universe. I'm not 100% sure. Next to them, you have Mike the Golem, who was a stone golem of myth, who was trained by his Ray and others to essentially become a golem Ghostbuster. And then if you move, Carrie, if you move far left and just a little bit down, yeah, right there. That group is the Sanctum of Slime Ghostbusters. So those were a team of Ghostbusters in a future where, kind of similar to what we deal with now, where the Ghostbusters grew too old to do the work, so they hired a new team. So, and then even further, Carrie, if you could go back to the Extreme Ghostbusters, but go below the gentleman in the wheelchair, yes, those, as Jeremy want to point out, those are the Ghostbusters from the Ghostbusters 2 Game Boy video game. So like I said, that's everybody.
all right.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Thank
a
you.
bunch of goddamn Ghostbusters.
Man, it's a bunch of goddamn Ghostbusters. But again, and on top of it, I think I think it is really sad that I don't think I've ever seen Dan Schoening win an award, or at least for his Ghostbusters work, because the the way he was able to channel the individual styles of each team was fantastic.
I agree. Like nobody was, even though you had two Egons, they were definitely different.
Well, yeah. And they also
Or-
kept to the style, and that's the important thing is, like, yes, it's all Dan's style, but he's adapting it to be, the slightly 90s alternative grunge of the Real Ghostbusters, the 80s softer style of the Real Ghostbusters. You got the rougher, gritty Sanctum of Slime with your mainstream, his style, Peter and things. Carrie pointed out that she had that one panel. I think it was like 3 different Slimers, and she was like, "That's a lot of food,"
Mm.
And again, you have
Egon
this
with the
big
And there's
threat.
this guy.
Oh yeah, that are you talking about the Egon with the red gloves?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Egon from the Extreme Ghostbusters universe. He's their mentor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. All that. So yeah, you got all them. But point being is, like I said, just a big fucking book, and it was just great. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of reading this. I cannot tell you.
Oh, the battle with death was great.
Well, yeah, it's because
That's
also
Bill and Ted.
well, yeah, that, but it's also funny because Eduardo is a bit of a slacking idiot. So, and it's actually funny because Eduardo's last name is Rivera. And then it's funny because that's my partner's last name. So I always made the joke that that's another reason that I started dating her, is because I wanted to keep it a Ghostbuster relationship.
See, and here's 2 different Kylies.
Is your partner a Ghostbuster?
No, but she has been lovingly referred to by Ernie Hudson as my Dana, so I'm good.
Very nice.
Yeah, and yes, to answer your question, Carrie, there are 2 separate versions of Kylie. There is one that helps out the team and is kind of an unofficial Ghostbuster in the Prime universe, and then there's the one from the Extreme Ghostbusters who is kind of their team leader. And Carrie, just to let you know, she also was a former cheerleader, so I kind of think that's you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Yeah, here's all the different Slimers.
Yep. That's a lot of spuds, man. Look at that. That's a lot. Look at all of that. Because again, look, you've got on the left, you've got the Prime Slimer, who's just, foul-tempered, mischievous goop. You've got the up top, you've got the Slimer from the Real Ghostbusters, who is, silly, goofy, mascot. Below him is his sequel version, and from the Extreme Ghostbusters. You've got the Slimer next to him is from the Answer the Call. And then I believe the one above them is like, it kind of looks like an Ecto Cooler Slimer. Just a really goofy, cartoony one. Yep. As Carrie put it, it's a lot of slime.
I had fun with this, with all the different places. Like, this is Central Park in one of the dimensions that they get sent to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a black and white dimension that they're in. We saw
the what the hell's that? Where they were all like 2D. Well, they weren't, but the world was 2D.
Yes.
Yeah,
Carrie, talking about the super animated universe. The cartoony one. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Yeah, it'll get back there. I can go back real quick.
Oh, it's okay.
It's all good.
Here we go. When they start in the comic book.
Oh,
yep.
Yes.
Great. I mean, again,
yeah, they're like,
I don't want to show too much because, again, like, if you really do want to read this, guys, I really recommend reading much of it. But I mean, it was such a good book, and again, credit to Erik. Everybody's voice was there. You know what I mean? No one felt out of place. No one felt out of character. It was all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Like,
I even liked how
yeah.
they mixed up the teams that were going out.
Yeah. It
So
was
that like you had all these opposing kind of
viewpoint.
personalities. Yeah.
Yeah, viewpoints and different ways about going about the same thing. And I have to say this, Jeremy, because I touched on this when I was on with Justin Cooper and Steve McCann when we were talking. That is that Erik Burnham did this beautiful thing with the IDW where he established that when the Ghostbusters in the first movie defeated Gozer the Gozerian, and they split Gozer's essence, because as we've seen in the cartoon and the comics, Gozer continues to remanifest into their dimension. A lot of times he gets defeated because it's kind of his role in life, especially because, unfortunately, because Ray chose his form, he always comes back as Stay Puffed. So until another form is chosen for him, which I believe it was at one point, he's always coming back as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which, being a fan of the cartoon, it was big. But Gozer, when they did that, they kind of scattered Gozer's essence throughout the multiverse. But inadvertently, when they did, they also kind of scattered the consciousness necessary to create Ghostbusters in multiple dimensions. So it was so essentially the Ghostbusters, while they couldn't completely defeat Gozer, they did kind of ensure that every dimension that Gozer could remanifest would have opposition in the form of a Ghostbusters team.
Hmm.
And to me, that kind of saved so much because it kind of made everything make sense, because it's like, okay, this is how you could have all these different versions of Ghostbusters, you know, kind of like how I imagine your beloved He-Man is, you know, benefits from a multiverse, because, you know, they're all similar, but they're a little different,
Definitely.
you know?
Except for when they had the electric He-Man.
Right. But so to me, I just kind of made it really make sense, because I was like, okay, like it's kind of like how, you know, you look at DC movies or Marvel movies. It's a multiverse, so there's literally a version for everybody. You know? So to me, I thought that was just a genius explanation on Erik's end.
I liked how the the 2016 Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
I like how they were actually used in this. I was not disappointed.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the 2016 movie, but like, I know that it's not a favorite amongst the world of ghostbusting.
yeah, Jar. Just essentially, because like I said, if you want to hear my full opinion, that is, I think that I applaud the movie for what it was trying to do, something different. And again, I am an equal opportunity Ghostbuster. I don't care whomever you are. If you can slip on a jumpsuit, sling on a proton pack, and you got the attitude when you flick that switch on, Godspeed, and may busting make you feel good. You know?
Yeah.
Shut up, Cherry. Carrie's like, I didn't do anything. I'm just sitting here letting you talk. I just felt like you were going to say a snarky remark, because that could have been dirty. Yeah. So basically, Jar, in my opinion, the movie, what the book did was it kind of solidified everybody. It explained the universe in a way that made sense, and it kind of solidified their presence in that universe. And they did do a crossover with the. Thank you, Raz. They did do a crossover with the Answer the Call Ghostbusters, as they're called. And like I said, it really did make me appreciate them in a different light, because I was very much on the fence about the movie. I feel that certain things worked, certain things didn't. But for me, as a fan, as someone who's been cosplaying as a Ghostbuster for over 10 years now, I think the best way to go about it is that however you are inspired, whatever version you show up, you're suited up. I don't care if your pack turns on or it has to be inflated with air. You show up, you slip on that suit, you show up, you're a Ghostbuster, because you're supposed to be having the good time. And that's the policy I've always gone on it. And I'm somebody who, I let people wear my pack for photos. I'll take it off, I'll let them wear it, just because I like giving people that opportunity to enjoy something that they never thought they could from their childhood, But that's me. A proton pack is very expensive. And it's just like I said, I've seen the franchise just come together and just be great. And yes, like any nerdy franchise, there's always there's bad apples, drama, whatever. I don't care how you say it. There will always be that, no matter what group. The point is that we are all there to have a good time, and it shouldn't matter who's the biggest fan, who had what and whatnot. I was like, listen, you're there to have a good time. And if you're doing that and you're being a positive role model, that's anything that Dan and the late great Harold Ramis would be proud of when they banged out the script that would lead to the first movie, So, end speech. I'm good. Thank you.
We're starting the slow clap.
Thank you. So, did you guys have any? I have to ask this because again, I've read every book in this. Were there anything you had questions about that maybe that our audience might want to know?
I was going to pull up, if it's okay, the pages that show the paperwork for like what each dimension is, that gives a little brief explanation, so that people can see that there is, like, if you go and check out the comic, you'll see, okay, this is, what the Peaky reading is. This is the dimension. This is how they found it. These are the people they found and such. And it kind of cracks me up because some of them are like, oh, we were checking out a malfunction. Oh, somebody, we got here wrong. And then one of them is like, Egon sneezed or something. And there's another one where it's like, somebody was going to a dimension that had a baseball game that their team only won in that one.
Yeah.
We ended up in this dimension. Oh, favorite football team.
Say, look at that, the little 8-bit universe Ghostbusters and their little 8-bit Slimer. How cute.
I have to admit, I skipped these.
It's all good.
This is the dimension that they only discovered on accident because Peter was taking trips to it to find his favorite football team, who was seemingly unbeatable.
There you go.
And then these guys showed up.
Yep.
And these are the ones that are more anime style, and apparently they're dicks, and they can speak in English, but they refuse to. A lot of times they speak in Japanese and just say really, really insulting and bizarre things on purpose, according to the notes here.
Yeah, I know why, because there was an anime, small anime series of Ghostbusters. It was a manga. And I remember that because they had a storyline that had the aide from the mayor from the second one. I believe it was Jack Hardemeyer. From the second movie, try to lead some sort of revenge against the Ghostbusters for ruining his life and career. So he made a deal with some spiritual force that got far out. I've never actually read it, but I've read the synopsis. So so I know that tracks, and that's right. That's the Extreme Ghostbusters.
This is the one that was that was discovered because of a sneeze.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, the combined Spanglers are working on the science of pure luck as a result of hay fever causing the discovery of another dimension.
There you go.
These were the future ones, correct?
Yes, Yes, this is the Sanctum of Slime. Mm-hmm. Yep. 20 years in the future.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of things in common, but not quite everything. Although apparently they see themselves and they feel that they've aged well, which they're happy with.
Oh, there you go.
I loved how they got into the whole, why don't we just go to the past and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, because we don't have time travel, damn it. That shit was hilarious. They're like,
Oh yeah,
great.
this is yep. Rachel and Luis. This is the yep.
That confused me. What's going on there?
What do you mean?
When they came out, like, one was a ghost,
Who is?
right?
Yeah. Do you want to
Yeah.
explain the whole Rachel and Letter?
I'll do my best, Carrie. I mean, I already
Thing?
explained it to you. All right. So basically, Jar.
Oh yeah, you did
Rachel,
good with me. So.
Yeah. So basically, Jar, to answer your question, Rachel Unlighter is the half sister of Gozer. She's a half demon, half human sibling of Gozer, and her father is Ra, who is the father of Gozer, who came after the Ghostbusters for messing with his kid. And this was in the Scott Lobel and Elias Krasinski story, Displaced Aggression, which I know we covered. It might have been Jar before you were even with us. It's a 4-issue story arc called Displaced Aggression, which is basically Ghostbusters Lost in Time. So basically, Rachel gets a souped-up time-traveling Ecto-1, collects Peter in the Old West, Ray in medieval England, Egon in Mars in the 30th century, and then brings them back to modern-day New York, which is swarming with demons. Everything is fucked, to essentially fight Ra and bring it on home. In the end, Rachel is revealed to be what she is, the half-sister of Gozer, who betrayed her kind to side with the Ghostbusters, and her sacrifice helps them defeat Ra, although it is, I believe, at her expense. So this is the first time we've seen her since then, and I believe that arc was like, God, that was like really early. Basically, Jar, that was the second ever arc they ever did of Ghostbusters, right after our friend of the show, Keith Champagne and Tom Nugent's The Other Side arc. So that was kind of when IDW was kind of finding its Ghostbuster feet. So yeah, they had some comics before the 2011 series with Erik and Dan. Mm-hmm.
Tom Dog has a question. Was there ever a crossover comic where the real Ghostbusters cross paths with
No.
the Filmation Ghostbusters?
There was not. There was talk of having the Filmation Ghostbusters show up and crossing over, but unfortunately, I believe there was a matter of rights. So, but no, the real Ghostbusters, I don't know if they ever did. They might have. There could have been a cheeky a little tongue-in-cheek reference somewhere. Maybe it was during the Get Real crossover between the real Ghostbusters and the Prime ones. I can't really say for certain, but I feel like I would have remembered that. That's pretty unique. I mean, I like how in a world where men carry nuclear accelerators and bust ghosts, that a group of people doing the same thing but with a giant gorilla would be weird. So
Yes.
I don't know that. I don't think that's irony, but it's definitely whimsy.
Great, babe.
Oh,
Yeah.
whimsical.
Whimsical. Yes, quite.
Yeah.
But yes, if anybody has other questions, Ghostbuster related, this is the time to ask. But Jar, to answer your other question, June 8th is always considered Ghostbusters Day. I hate you so much, Carrie. I know. As that is the day that the movie premiered in 1984. So every year they have a gathering on that day or a weekend adjacent where they celebrate that. That happens at Hook Ladder 8, which is the firehouse in Tribeca that they filmed the original movie at, and subsequent sequels like the second one, and then scenes in Afterlife and things. And I believe the new movie Frozen Empire had scenes there too. Yeah, so a bunch of Ghostbusters bring their ectos. They showcase A lot of people show up in all sorts of uniforms. It's really great. They have raffles. All the proceeds go to charity. They get people who starred in the movie, whether it's people who performed on the soundtrack, to small cameos, to notable people. And it's literally the entire strip of where the house is, for where it's on the corner to the other end. It's all blocked off. The firemen there love it. They've embraced that very much. It's a great event. There's always a ton of Ghostbusters, and it's always something happening. I mean, last year I went for the first time with one of my best friends, and I was in my element. I brought Twinkies. I was handing out Twinkies to people. There was a guy who was a Santa Claus Ghostbuster who was very happy to be given a Twinkie. And he was like, "Oh, thank you." I was like, "Well, you give us presents all the time. I feel like you deserve one, Santa, you know?" I remember me and my one of my friends who I helped become a Ghostbuster. I call him my Ghost Bro. We met this kid who he'd never had a Twinkie before. He had his first Twinkie. I was like, "Here you go. Enjoy. Don't get hooked. You know, definitely not good for you." There were some people I knew there, so it was nice catching up with people. Met some new friends. There's a guy there who's dressed like Jim Belushi, and in the comic, Ray is guided by a spectral entity who is drawn like Belushi. So that's their tribute, because, as you know, Belushi was supposed to be Peter Venkman in the original script of Ghostbusters, but that had to change once, of course, he passed away. But he's always referenced as Ray's spirit guide. So, you know, this guy who's his name is on Instagram, his name is Baby Belushi, because he looks just like him. But he also does custom artwork. It's called the Real Ghostbusters, and it's REEL. And he takes scenes and he redraws them in the context of the Real Ghostbusters. Yep, there's me. That's my ghost bro Fernando, and Santa. You know, that's it's Baby Belushi himself. The Real Ghostbusters follow his work. It's always, especially if you're a fan of the Real Ghostbusters, his shit is great. And I made sure to tag Dan Schoening and Erik Burnham in that. That is the Slimer puppet from the shadow cast of the NYCC Ghostbusters. They used to do a shadow cast, which is where you watch the film and people reenact. They do scenes, they have props, and that's their Slimer. And another fun fact, when I went last year, they had a wedding there. Two people got married in front of the firehouse, and we all got to participate, and we actually all got
where'd he go?
We got little chips.
Ooh.
To celebrate. Yeah, they gave us these little tributes. Their names were Jason and Ashley, and in true fashion, I had brought 2 Crunch bars, as that is what Peter gives Egon. That's the bride, Ashley. Carrie, you're just good on this, on finding the photos.
I'm working.
And then the groom, Jason, was there wearing a slime blower, which is pretty impressive because they're heavy. I gave them the Crunch bars. I was like, "You've earned this," and they really appreciated that. Even though it's June, everybody. So let me just tell you,
with the proton pack on and a whole fucking jumpsuit, that cannot be too comfortable.
You know, Jar, I've been wearing my proton. Yep, there you go. Yep, I am such a.
I got you.
I'm such a smarmy fuck. I am. But yeah, so it was just such a great experience. And And this year it's going to be even bigger because it's the 40th anniversary. So I myself am going down again. It is one of the few years I push aside my anxiety and drive down and park in the city because I do not like taking public transportation while wearing a proton pack.
Understandable.
It's really easy to get claustrophobic about it. And on top of it, just people not being very cognizant of personal space. Because let's be real here, Jar. If you're coming in from where I live, you have to take it to Grand Central, and then you're going to have to take a bunch of subways to get to Tribeca. You know, like that's a lot. And you know, people are not going to be cognizant of personal space. You're in a subway. There's a lot of, close spaces. God forbid you need one person who pushes, and something breaks, and then the proton pack is not a toy. Just like Harold Ramis told Bobby Brown in the second movie, proton pack is not a toy. It's a very, very expensive toy.
So we have a question for you.
Yes.
Jenny would like to know.
Okay, that is really difficult, Jenny, because personally speaking, as much as Harold Ramis is, he's the forever Egon. I've always had a soft spot for the Real Ghostbusters Egon, who, funny enough, him and the Extreme Ghostbusters Egon are voiced by the same voice actor, Maurice LaMarche, who we got to interview at Rhode Island in 2022. Maurice's Egon is the voice I hear when I'm reading the comics, because that's my childhood, was watching
all the Real Ghostbusters too.
Yeah. And I've been fortunate enough in my life to have met two of the Real Ghostbusters guys. I've met Maurice a bunch of times, and it's always fantastic. He was the first person to ever sign my proton pack, and he is probably one of my favorite people in the world. And I met briefly because it was at Rhode Island, and the line was very long. I did meet Frank Welker, who voiced Ray in the entire series, who is a prolific voice actor we would spend an hour and we wouldn't even cover all of his voice acting. I unfortunately cannot meet Lorenzo Music as he passed away, which I always make to a point of it. I would meet Dave Coulier. He was Peter for a bit. I know some fans are so about his impression. I always find it really funny because he's clearly just doing his version of a Bill Murray impression. So, it just talking like this, oh, you miserable little green stuff. I'm just like, I can't. And I've always wanted to meet Arsenio Hall, who was the voice of Winston. But that is not yet to happen, but I'm hoping, maybe one day, right, Jar? It can happen. Wait, no, that's Angels in the Outfield. My bad. Sorry, wrong movie.
Is Jar frozen, or did you just make him stare off into the void?
I think I might have broken him.
This
Hold on.
long stare going on. Jar?
Jar?
Buddy? Buddy, you okay?
If he's pranking us, that's amazing.
Jar.
I think the man's gone nuts.
And this is the most loveliest time of the year, with storms breaking up our internets and making us slow down and drop out of shows.
Yep.
And I called it right then.
You did. I think that's why
we'll be back.
This is why you always bet on Carrie.
Oop. Ta-da!
There was a funny you missed it. There was a funny thing when we were going off on if you were pranking us with that.
My internet really
face.
Yeah, just
You're just like,
my internet. I'm like, whoa. Okay, Jar, we got it.
All right.
So, I mean, I don't really think there's too much more to say. I feel like we've talked about enough of the book. Was there anything? Was there anything? We've talked about a lot of it. Was there anything you feel could have been a little better? Like any like constructive criticism?
What ape story?
back on Campfire, All Light Society.
Oh, you didn't even
When
say
you dropped
anything about
Freddy.
your Owlite menagerie.
I
Oh,
haven't
right.
yet. I was saying that.
Well,
I was saving that for when we're done with the
Yeah.
Ghostbusters and everything.
Yeah. So, but did you guys have anything that you wished maybe was a little, like any constructive criticism, something that you felt,
The only thing
deterred
I
you a little?
had was towards issue 6, 7, maybe it was 8. I forget which. Two, but the two issues felt a little rushed to get to the end goal. But then
Okay.
once you got to the end goal, there was this whole extra stuff going on that they went with. So I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe it was just me.
Oh no, I mean, Jar, like I said, I think it was a big story. That I think that they did as well as they could, kind of bringing it to a logical conclusion. Especially explaining that the events were all, as it always is, were the orchestrations of a big bad.
Yeah.
So, and then of course it's a big bad who has a personal tie with the Ghostbusters, specifically one of them, and how he gets his comeuppance with that was very cathartic. And the ending was sad. Yeah, you have to acknowledge it. We're not going to spoil anything, but
No.
poor Ray.
Yeah.
I did find it funny also when they were fighting over Air Force and Marines.
Yeah.
It was like that's
Jarhead. Flyboy.
Yep.
Yeah, I was worried when I started reading it that just the sheer amount of people involved, but they did a really good job of introducing, because they had to introduce them to each other because some of them
Right.
didn't know the other ones, and it worked well enough, and especially then with those pages at the end too, that you could pretty much figure out who everybody was and a little bit about them and how they worked together, what dynamics worked, and the switching up of the teams so they weren't with their own teams, being like, oh, so you got to fill in and pretend to be the Ray of this team, and you have to be the,
No,
I thought it
were
worked out
their
really well.
own. Yeah, because they were their own entities, and I think that's really says a lot about character development, and the variety of Ghostbusters we've seen over the years. So I agree, Carrie. Good safety tip. Nicely done. But yeah, so I know that Ghostbusters is now a Dark Horse, and they're doing currently they're doing the little tie-in series Back in Town, which is supposed to bridge what happened in between Afterlife and Frozen Empire, which is a decent story. I'll say that. I'm always down for more Ghostbusters. To me, it's kind of like Hellboy. There's always another story to tell. So I'm just really glad you guys liked the story. I was kind of a little nervous dropping a super big story like this on y'all, but you enjoyed it, and that's what counts.
Yes.
I loved all the big bads too.
I mean, listen, Carrie, just add it to your 95 other titles you're reading on your list.
Yeah.
How do you read so many books at the same time and not get confused? Where
she has a spreadsheet.
Do you? No kidding.
Yeah, slowly working on it. I need to go back and re-add a lot of stuff to it, but yeah, I have like over 300 titles on the spreadsheet that I've read since I started with splash pages alone. I started keeping track of them, and some of them I have missed. I have to go back and put on, but I believe yeah, I have like 979 titles that I think I still need to read, that I'm working on. But those include things like, like the entire Ultimate Universe is like 20 titles,
Yeah.
but then again, some of them are huge. Some of them are a couple of issues. Some of them are, really long. So but no, I just read until I get an ocular migraine, and then
It
I
doesn't.
stop.
It doesn't feel overwhelming at times or anything like that.
I get so into it. I might have to remind myself later, like, oh, this was this one, this was this one. Sometimes if it's a bunch of
Mhm.
short series, but
Mhm.
I'll just like find a writer and get on a kick with them, or find an artist and get on a kick with them, and
Nice.
then
It's true.
yeah, just go through and be like, I
That's
want
cool.
that feel for a while. So I'll just
So,
okay, I can read these 4 short issues or this one really long one, and
so,
yeah.
so, Carrie, before we end the show, and when we do,
Yes.
please put the focus on me at the end because I have an idea. I
Okay.
believe there's some most recent release that you want to talk about, correctly?
Yes, I am so proud of this, and I am so, so excited about this. Over at the Owlite Network, we have released, today is launch day for the Owlite Menagerie. This is a book that we've put together. It's an anthology of stories from all of the authors over on the Owlite Network, as well as some of the authors that we've had on as guests and interviewed. And book launches today. Look up anything on the Owlite stuff. You're going to find it. We have everything going. We're going to be having a launch party on Saturday. 9 p.m. Eastern is when it starts. We're going to have as many authors as we can over there. And all of the benefits or all of the profits are going to be going for the first year to Pro Literacy, which is an adult literacy charity organization that has all these programs to work with the community. And it's just something we are so proud of. Uh, we got it all put together. Faycor is putting it out, publishing wise, and yeah,
Look
we
at
we
that.
really want to.
I just
Yeah,
Googled it, and it was the very first thing that came up was Barnes and Noble.
Cool.
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, we have it
Look at
up
you
on
guys.
Bookstreet. You can get things ordered, and this is our first network publication, so
Good job,
that's kind of
guys.
That's
cool for
cool.
us. Yeah, yeah. So thank you.
Okay.
And please, yeah, guys, go check it out because, oh my God, there's so many fun stories. And we have like people from the dark, like Steve Van Samson is
Yeah. It's
one
it.
of the folks that's in here. Curtis M. Lawson, all these Rob Smales who we've had before. Oh, and Raz and Jenny, and I'm in it. I I like my story.
Yay.
I'm proud of it.
Uh,
I'm proud of it.
you,
I
I,
did it. I
yeah,
wrote it.
Carrie, I got you on
Mhm.
next time.
And it's for sale digitally everywhere now, and physically will be available by Saturday.
Hey,
So yeah, should we wrap
I think we should wrap.
on that? All right.
Oh, no. She might wrap
So
it up, Dar. Sorry.
all
Sorry.
right.
Yeah.
So for me, check out
Fresh paper
Carrie
ain't nothing
Sanders
to fuck
on
with.
Facebook.
Jar, it's her time, man. She's got to say goodbye.
You,
Don't be rude.
you'll see all. Jesus Christ. You'll see all my
Sorry.
links there. Check out my author page. Check out the Owlite Network. We're going to check out so you can check out the book. I'm here with these guys every Tuesday having fun with comics, and sometimes I am Fleo. Other than that, yeah, check out the book this weekend. Georgia.
That's my DJing skills. Let's see.
Very
Tomorrow
nice.
night I will be on Token with the Dead, and we will be hanging with actor extraordinaire Mr. Dean Butler from most people will remember him from Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, what a throwback. And let's see, I'm here every Tuesday hanging with these folks. And come check me out on Facebook at Jeremy Courtney. And I think that's about it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this show, and we hope you enjoy that my obsession with Ghostbusters has taken over yet again another show. So great stuff there. I'm on Facebook, Ghost Drew Malo, Ghostbuster 1984. I'm working on a bunch of things. Some things are still in the works. Some things you could see soon. Who knows? And some days I'm like, who cares? But you do. So thank you. Thank you very much for always coming out to support us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for tonight. And yeah, I don't know, man. Just, do the thing.
Show off your blanket.
That's okay.
Show.
End the show.